recruiting immortals from the stars now?
Welcome back. Aloy, I know your experience in Thebes was unsettling, but we have a new problem.
Did something go wrong with Beta and the rig? Will we be able to transport you to Gemini?
The rig is complete. The problem is Hephaestus itself. It has accelerated its proliferation throughout the Cauldron network, increasing its power.
But with your sub-functions restored, we can still succeed, right?
Correct. But the net effect is that absorbing Hephaestus will take longer than previously calculated.
How long?
Even with Omega clearance, my current estimate is that the merge will take 35 hours.
And each hour increases the risk of detection by the Zeniths. Two cores. Two overrides. What if the merge were carried out by two clones of Elizabeth Sobek, both armed with Omega clearance? How long then? Half the time?
Hephaestus would be unprepared for the simultaneous labor of two operators, in addition to obvious synergetic efficiencies. Calculating. It would reduce the merge time to approximately 4.5 hours.
Okay. Varl, it looks like we're gonna need Beta at Gemini. Do you think you can convince her?
I don't know, but I'll try.
What about our diversion? Are the pulse generators ready?
Only a final test remains. I am confident that if fired in proximity to other cauldrons, the pulses will mask our activities at Gemini from the Zeniths.
Good. As long as Aaron can operate one without shooting himself in the face.
Aloy, you better get down here. Beta's in bad shape.
Okay.
Anybody seen one of my machine strike pieces around?
Aloy. I tried, but it's impossible. I don't think anything will convince her to go.
We don't have a choice.
Good luck.
Beta, you have to come with us. It's the only way. It's one mission. The most important one. We need you. Tell me why you won't go. What if they take me back? Alone, in a cell again. Their slave. Forever. Varl and I will be at Gemini too. I'll protect you. As soon as we get Hephaestus, we'll come straight back here. The Zeniths aren't going to find us. You don't have to be afraid. No! You can't protect me. Nothing can protect me from them. I told you from the beginning we'll never beat them. It's hopeless. Beta. Leave me alone! You don't understand! You're right. I don't understand. We have the same genes, the same mind, the same heart. So why can't you find the strength to do what has to be done? Like Elizabeth would. Don't you think I've thought about that? I don't know what piece of Elizabeth I'm missing. I don't know what you have that I don't. I look through all the data from your focus. You were raised as an outcast, shunned, and isolated just like me, so what's the difference? What's my defect? Beta. You don't have a defect. Beta. Look, it's not a piece of Elizabeth. The difference is, I had him. Rost. He raised you, trained you, but he was never warm or loving. The day he died, the day he gave you that charm, he was going to abandon you. He wanted me to embrace the tribe. But then he gave his life for mine. He loved me in his own way. And that was enough. What did it feel like? It was like having the strength that was always there. It's still there. Even now I hear him in my head when things get bad. But it looks impossible. Look deeper. And then fight like you can win. You don't have to go on the mission. We'll find another way. I'll go. You said you'd try to protect me. I believe you. But you have to promise me one thing. Yes, of course. If it goes bad, if the Zeniths find us, I don't want to be their slave again. Do you understand? Okay. Promise? I promise. I could use as much time as you can give me to study up on the merge, to make it as efficient as possible. I'll be ready when you are. I swear.
Aloy, whenever you're ready, come speak to me and I'll ask the others to make final preparations for the mission.
Is it me, or did the old ones just look funny?
Funny how?
They're close. They're weird. They're so tight.
For once, I'd have to agree. I'd rip those things to shreds in a fight.
They didn't move around as much.
This is the rite of passage that Vashav gave me at the embassy. I liked him. He seemed like a good man. I think he was really looking forward to going home.
file's crazy. Why would anyone use oils for that?
Oh, looks like I can open that door now. There's a lot of equipment in here. Gaia, what was all this for? According to this console, there are still thousands of plant samples stored deep below the facility. I could ask Gaia about them the next time I talk to her.
I've been tackling the design of the Ag Lab. Place is gonna have a lot of seed stock to work with. My favorite? Sample 626. Calotropis gigantea. The crown flower. We used to have one in our backyard. Butterflies always fluttering around. Every morning, August would run out there to check under the leaves. See if any caterpillars turned into chrysalises. Now, I'd like to imagine that the future will be filled with them.
I'm telling you, the old ones just laid on their feet and
Danced on ice.
That doesn't sound safe.
Does sound fun, though.
Looks like some of the holograms are working now.
I have repurposed the displays to track Regala's activity in the region.
A useful war map. Aloy, are you well?
Had a bit of an issue with Beta. It's better now, though.
Ah, I'm not surprised.
Really? Why not?
I once knew a warrior who discovered he had a brother late in life. It was deeply uncomfortable for him.
Did he ever get over it?
In time. But not before the two siblings nearly killed each other in a single combat challenge.
Ah. Well, at least I avoided that.
There is something I've been meaning to discuss with you. It's personal. If you have a moment to spare.
I heard my friend Talana came by the base. Did you get a chance to meet her?
Briefly. A bold woman going into Tenakth territory with that Karja armor of hers. She'll be lucky if my people don't shoot her on sight.
She'll be careful. She's just looking for someone who might need her help.
Whoever it is, they better be worth dying for.
Have you had a chance to speak with Varl?
Briefly. He fought well against Regala's troops at Barren Light. Are all Nora as skilled as the two of you?
I'm not exactly one of them. But anyway, the Nora can hold their own. They managed to push the Karja from their lands.
I thought my tribe was the only one to have done that. Impressive.
Does it still hurt?
It comes and goes. I try not to think about it, but its absence is always present for me. It's difficult to explain.
I can't claim to understand. Only empathize.
Then you have my thanks.
Have you spoken with Erend at all?
I've had little chance to. I did see him bring some ale from out east.
That stuff's as bitter as self-brush.
You get used to it, eventually. In fact, I wouldn't mind a drink myself.
I'm sure Erend wouldn't mind sharing. What have you been up to?
Varl has asked to learn the differences between my people's clans, so I've been teaching him Tenakth history. It is heavy with blood and death, but also with honorable deeds and vanquished tyrants. Maybe you'd like to hear about it as well, when our mission is done.
I'd be honored. What do Tenakth do to relax? You know, to take a break from training?
We play strike. Your Oseram friend, Erend, is surprisingly good at it, although he has yet to beat me. It helps one think strategically, hones the mind for tactics.
Somehow that still sounds like training. Have you spoken with Alva?
The Quen is peculiar. Nothing like a Tenakth. Her mind is sharp, that much is certain. But it's hard to imagine her surviving in the wilds.
Trust me, she's tougher than she looks.
I will take your word for it.
You nervous about the mission ahead?
If I live, it will be in victory. If I die, it will be in battle. What matters most is that you achieve your objective.
I'll do my best. You said you were training with the Focus?
That's right. I've been watching holograms of your first fight with the Zenith Spectres. They are faster and more agile than any machines I've faced before. How many do the Zeniths have?
I'm not sure. Probably a lot.
I would not wish to face them en masse.
I'm with you there. Must be strange, seeing everything through a Focus now.
I can see machines like never before. Their strengths and weaknesses simply reveal themselves to me. To think that such a tiny object might be the most powerful weapon I've ever possessed.
What do you think of this place? It must take some getting used to.
It's an efficient center of operations, and an acceptable training facility. Though it could use some more color.
Duly noted. Anything interesting happen while I was away?
I found an acceptable place to practice with my blade.
Oh, and where's that?
Outside, above the base. There's a nest of sunwings that are always up for a fight.
Ever thought of sparring with something that's not trying to kill you?
That would defeat the purpose of the training.
Found anything interesting during your training?
Gaia told me where to find data on how wars were waged in the old world. I knew the Ten fought against machines, much as we do now, but it seems they were among the last of their kind. Later, machines battled other machines on behalf of greedy leaders, as they vied for lands and spoils. At least the Tenakth have the courage to put their lives on the line when conflicts arise.
There is nobility in that. But maybe we just need fewer conflicts in the first place.
Yes, of course. Hekarro would have it so as well.
How are your studies going?
I wanted to learn more about the world of the Old Ones.
And?
I looked up this pharaoh Gaia said you went looking for, and learned about the plague of machines he unleashed. To think that the ancient world was wiped out by a mistake. A single miscalculation. There is no glory or honor in such a fate. Only hubris and pointless death.
That about sums it up. Think you're ready to put all your training to the test?
I am Tenakth. I am always ready.
Getting Ether out of the Grove made for quite a spectacle.
One that showed the entire tribe that Hekarro's mission for peace is the correct path, for it is now blessed by the Ten themselves.
Anything else you've been looking at with that focus?
Gaia showed me the knowledge you recovered out in the desert. I am no chaplain, but I'd be curious to test if something I read is true.
What is it?
The Old Ones believed one could hear the great waters, even in the middle of the desert, if you carried the carcass of a water animal with you. They called them seashells.
That sounds... kind of gross. You said there was something you wanted to talk about?
I've been speaking with Gaia. She mentioned that the Zeniths bind metal with flesh to make themselves stronger. I was wondering if you'd help me do the same.
You want to make yourself a new arm?
Yes. Gaia insists she can help me build such a thing if I can get the necessary data and materials. She believes these things lie in the place where Beta hid from the Zeniths.
Their ancient research lab.
I am not as familiar with old world machinery as you are. I could use your assistance.
It might be dangerous. The Zeniths probably still keep an eye on that place. We were lucky to get out of there alive the first time.
I see.
It sounds like this is worth the risk.
By the 10, we shall see it through.
I should go get ready.
I await your orders.
I'll call you when I'm near the Zenith lab. We'll get what you need for that new arm of yours.
Thank you, Aloy.
Aloy!
Right to work, I see.
There's just so much. I mean, we knew of artificial beings that served the ancestors, but Gaia? Oh, she's amazing! And you, a true reincarnation of an ancestor. Genetically speaking, of course, not like the, late CO. And there's more ancestors out there, returned from beyond the stars. Of course, they're trying to kill us, which is not great. And Eric Visser is with them, which is disturbing. And then there's Hephaestus, and...
Okay. How about we take it one step at a time?
You're right. I also owe you an explanation for everything that happened at Landfall. Oh, and if you have a moment, there's something I could use your help with.
I imagine you don't know anyone here that well yet, but they're a good group.
It's funny because one of your friends is, well, another you. Not that you are the same person at all. I mean, you are, as in, you're both genetically Elizabeth Sobek, but even so, you're different.
We grew up very differently. But sometimes different is good.
Yes, of course.
I hope everyone's been treating you okay.
Oh, yeah, of course. They've all been extremely welcoming. And they share the knowledge they learn on their focuses with each other freely. It's refreshing. Back home, diviners can only share data with the permission from the overseers.
Sounds restrictive and stifling.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
Have you spoken with Zoe at all?
A little bit, but I did hear her singing with Varl not too long ago. I don't think they noticed. Zoe seemed so free when she did it. Like every emotion she had was taking flight in song. And she looked happier because of it. I felt so dull and nervous in comparison.
You should ask Zoe to teach you sometime. About Utaru music.
Maybe.
If you need anything before heading out to the cauldrons.
You have nothing to worry about. Gaia's explained your plan in detail, as expected from such an efficient AI. I've even received some very, succinct combat advice from Kotalo. You know, in case the Zeniths show up.
What kind of advice?
He, told me to run.
For now. We'll even the odds soon enough. I see you've been using your new focus.
It's been fascinating. So much better than the version the Quen have. What would have taken me years to sort through, like the database you helped me recover, with this, I've been able to establish search parameters to speed up the process. This could revolutionize how diviners analyze the legacy. That is, whatever part of it the Overseers would actually let us study.
You wanted data, you'll find lots of it here.
A diviner has never had this sort of unsupervised access to archives such as this. And knowing you, I suspect there is much that would normally be forbidden held within them. But I was sent here to help you. I would be remiss to ignore any truth laid before me. Maybe it'll help the Quen find their way back to the path of truth.
Any more data catch your eye?
All of it? I have so much to study up on. Years, actually. I'm particularly interested in the Odyssey. We knew the ancestors had made it to the moon. In fact, we theorized some of them had settled on it. But Sirius is way farther than that. And we thought journeying across the ocean would be the feat of a lifetime. The sheer calculations needed for space travel, it's overwhelming to think about.
Even so, the Quen are way ahead of other tribes when it comes to understanding this stuff. Where I grew up, everyone thought that stars were sparks that rose from a fire lit by the goddess to guide us through the night. You mentioned Eric Visser? How do you know about him?
The Zenith who tried to kill you? He is known to the Quen as the Protector. Combing through data related to his work led us to breakthroughs related to weapons and military tactics. Knowledge our rulers used to conquer and expand, to become the empire we are today. That's why he's one of our most revered ancestors. But based on your encounter with him, it appears he's even more ruthless than we ever imagined. Yet another distorted interpretation in the legacy.
Well, at least you're piecing together the truth.
If only the Overseers back home would do the same.
Beta mentioned other Zeniths. Tilda, Verbena, and Gerard.
I'm afraid I don't know anything about them. Whatever legacy they left behind, the Diviners haven't recovered.
Must be strange to think that some of the ancestors your tribe reveres are still alive. And here on Earth, right now.
Yeah, it is. Part of me's curious to know who else besides Eric Visser might be among them. Maybe Nikita Arand? We call her the Spark. The legacy tells us she brought unlimited energy to the Old Ones. Or Sung Jiao, whom we call the Healer. It is said she found new ways to extend the ancestors' lifespans. But my curiosity fades when I think of how different our view of Visser was compared to the reality that you experienced. Perhaps it is better not to know.
You said you owed me an explanation for what happened in Thebes. I'm listening.
Right. I'll start at the beginning, with the CO. He was an Imperial, the Emperor's nephew, in fact. As such, he sponsored many diviners to search the legacy for anything that might help the tribe, and himself. He took a special interest in anything related to Ted Faro, whom we considered the greatest of the ancestors.
Ted Faro, revered ancestor. That's tough to take.
I know better now, of course. Anyway, the diviners discovered that Faro spent a great deal of time in San Francisco. In fact, many of the most important ancestors did. So the Emperor's nephew convinced him that an expedition across the ocean might solve our most pressing problems. If only we could find the right data in this fabled city. Perhaps we could roll back the floods and storms that threatened our people. The Emperor declared that all the tribe's resources be poured into this endeavor. Dozens of ships were built, scouting missions were dispatched, and the Emperor's nephew was named Sio, one who wields the legacy for the good of the Empire. The living embodiment of Ted Faro, a renewer. It may seem strange now, but for a time, he carried all of our hopes. We really believed he would save us. We had no idea just how perilous the journey would be.
You said the expedition across the sea was more dangerous than you thought it would be. What happened?
We lost most of our ships to hurricanes, and scores of soldiers perished to hunger and disease. And that was before we even hit the coast. Once we landed, machines ripped our patrols apart, and we struggled to replenish our rations. There were bright spots, to be sure. We found Thebes and the greenhouse. But nothing improved the CEO's mood as his dreams of saving the tribe were slowly dashed. He became more and more obsessed with Thebes and what lay behind its door. And more convinced that the title of CEO was no mere honorific. You heard him, spouting nonsense about Pharaoh's essence and some kind of becoming. We knew these weren't the words of a sane man, but he was quick to put any who spoke out in front of a firing squad.
What a great guy.
The Quen are wrong about many things when it comes to the legacy. I can see that now. But what the CEO became was a complete perversion of what Principal Diviners stand for. The pursuit of truth. I'm sorry you had to endure his madness. I'm just glad it's over. For everyone.
So, Bohai, your overseer. Will he run things better than CEO?
He won't execute people on a whim, if that's what you mean. But he's hardly a paragon of integrity. I can't tell you how many times he took credit for data in the legacy that I uncovered. The best thing I can say about him is that he can be trusted to always do what's best for him.
Yep, sounds about right. Back at the greenhouse, you spoke of knowledge forbidden to your people.
Diviners are meant to seek out the truth in the legacy, and many Imperials sponsor them in the hopes they'll find something the Empire can put to use, thus gaining favor with the Emperor. But the Board of Overseers claims certain truths are detrimental to the stability of the Empire, like discovering one of our revered ancestors ended the world. That is why Diviners are only allowed to access segments of the legacy. Only Overseers can view it all. It ensures that any heretical data can be contained and retrieved before it can spread.
What happens to Diviners who break the rules?
I never had the courage to ask.
The Ancestors, is that what your people call the Old Ones?
Yes and no. The Ancestors are the greatest of the Old Ones. Those whose legacy taught us agriculture, medicine, warfare, leadership, and patronage of the science and arts.
The CEO called Elizabeth Sobek an assistant. What's that about?
Right. Well, any Old One who has made minor contributions or worked extensively under one of the Ancestors is called an assistant. That's how we thought of Sobek, until we met you. Our limited access to data past the late 2040s has obviously misinformed our view of the past.
You mentioned the reason you came here was to help your family. Your sister...
Her name is Alika. Our parents are commoners, peasants, really. When I passed the divination exams, they were so proud. It brought honor to our family and increased rations. Only Alika begged me not to leave for the research academy.
Why? What happens there?
Alika knew that once you enter, you're not allowed to leave or see anyone, not even your family. Unless you can get special permission and an escort by an overseer.
It sounds harsh.
like the focuses we keep, diviners are few in number, and the Empire is, well, fearful that outsiders will try to steal our knowledge. Last time I was allowed to see my family was just before our voyage here. Because of my position, I was able to get them refuge from the floods within the capital. But if our crops don't recover soon, they'll starve to death along with everyone else.
I promise I'll do my best to make sure it doesn't come to that. You mentioned there was something you needed help with?
Yes. So as I was sifting through data from the greenhouse, I found references to an old world system back in the Great Delta. It's called Leviathan. My people discovered it decades ago. A sprawling network of river gates and a labyrinth of underground tunnels. The legacy revealed that the old ones used it to control flooding. But we've never gotten it to work. The whole thing is shut down. But the data from the greenhouse mentions the research facility where Leviathan was created. It's in San Francisco.
Another Pharaoh facility?
No. Leviathan was a project by Eileen Sasaki, another ancestor. So the legacy tells us, anyway, if we can acquire that data, we might be able to fix the system back in the Great Delta. Every year, my sister gets terrified when the long rains begin. With Leviathan, maybe she won't have to be.
Okay. So, where in San Francisco is this facility?
That's the thing. The data doesn't say where, exactly. But one of our diviners has been exploring the ruins. He might know. Would you come with me? I have a feeling that wherever this facility is, well, you're much better at fighting machines than I am.
Of course. I'll let you know when I'm in landfall.
Thank you, Aloy.
I should go.
Of course. Before you do, is everything all right? It sounded like there was an issue with Beta and the mission.
Not anymore. We just needed to talk some things through.
To understand one another is to embrace truth.
And, like I said, I'll let you know when I'm in landfall. We'll find the data you're after.
I appreciate it.